Hi folks, we're going to go over words and word classes. This is from chapter 2 in our book. First, let's talk about what a word is. And we're going to look at the different senses of how we would describe a word. First is just by spelling, something that's separated by spaces from other groups of letters. It can also be classified grammatically, which is like parts of speech. And finally, it can also be classified in terms of the lexemes. It's the basic meanings of little chunks of groups of letters that then are combined to create words. There are three major families of words which are discussed in Chapter 2. Lexical words, function words, and inserts. Lexical words are those critical words that carry most of the really important information that we're trying to share. And they can include nouns, verbs, or what we call lexical verbs, adjectives and adverbs. Open class, which means that that you can keep adding a lot of these, so you can have many nouns and many lexical verbs, and we can keep creating new ones as we learn about new things, to Google, for example. They can have a complex internal structure, and usually when you're speaking, they are the words that are emphasized or stressed. So in some examples we have here, house, paint, red, now, all those things. The second group are the function words, and these are considered to be a closed group. There's very little in the way of new function words that are being created. I mean, there are a few occasionally, but mostly it's pretty well set. Those words are not going to be changing, and we're not going to be adding new words to that. And what that does is it helps sort of show the relationships between the lexical words, and it's like the glue that holds together all those little ideas. And they include things like prepositions, pronouns, coordinators, and so on. And then finally, the last group, which is not as common, but it's still important, especially in spoken language, are inserts, which can carry emotional meaning. They're not really part of the sentence structure. They can have unusual pronunciation, and grammatically speaking, they're sort of apart from everything else, like, hey, those kinds of things. When we look at morphology, the lexical words can consist of just one morpheme, or one basic idea in a small group of letters, but they can also be more complex, and those lexical words can be sort of constructed, I think that's a nice word, through inflection, derivation, and compounding. Okay? In inflection, that's when you get, and it's typically suffixes that go at the end of the word, that will signal the meaning and the role in which are important to the type of word that it is. And some examples of inflection are plural, the genitive or the possessive, singular present, past tense markings. All of those are inflection. Derivation is where you can add suffixes or prefixes, or combined they're called affixes, and they can create new nouns, new adjectives, new verbs, and new adverbs. It can also change the meaning of the word, or it can change the type of word, the part of speech or word class of it, and it can also do both. So, for example, plug, you can add the prefix un and make the word unplug. You take the adjective central and add eyes to it and make a verb to centralize. And then finally, there's compounding, and that's where you combine two lexical words together, a chairperson, girlfriend, etc. So those are the basic concepts about words and word classes. Please let me know if you have any questions.